Day 3, we are visiting the Sugar Museum. And here's some of the equipment out here that they used. It is not an active, the sugar plantation here is not active right now. Some of the equipment that they used. Here's some more of the equipment that they used. This great big wheel. And this great big claw here. It explains here that this is a bull gear and cane crushing rollers. And then this is the big claw over here. They call this the cane grab. It says the cane grab was attached to a cable crane and was used to grab and lift sugar cane into a hauler to take to the mill. And this device is approximately 6 tons. Here at the Sugar Museum, it was established in 1902 and was an active sugar mill until 2016. Here is some more equipment that they used. This great big tractor truck, whatever it is. This is a Cat 60 and Cat 30. Were used extensively in sugar plantation operations. The Cat 60 was built in 1930. And the Cat 30 was built in 1926 in San Leandro, California. Cat 60 was out of Peoria, Illinois. It was run by diesel power, meant increased lugging ability, reduced fuel consumption, and simplified maintenance. And that's these equipments here. Look at this big monstrosity. Boy, that's huge. The chains. This is a 1956 Euclid cane hauler. This retired hauler, formerly number 6, is the only Euclid remaining from the Hawaiian Commercial and Sugar Company's cane hauler fleet. The trailer would have been loaded with harvested sugarcane by a cable crane similar to the one you see located over on this other side, or to the left. Cable crane and the cane crane next to it were manufactured in 1959. Used at the Pioneer Meal Company in Lahaina, which we went to yesterday. Here's the big crane. Another claw over here. Here's some more tractors out there. Okay, this is a traditional Portuguese oven. The oven was a necessity for the Portuguese immigrants who came here to work on the plantation. While the oven was sometimes used for roasting meat and chickens, bread was a staple, and the oven's primary purpose was to bake bread for families. This dates back to 1920s. Sugarcane began in 1835 when the first successful plantation was established on Kauai. Rain gauges. Rain falling on the gauge is funneled down the cup. Here is what the sugar cane would have looked like.
But they are not edible. They do, however, have an anesthetic, so if you play with the red seeds with your hands, it will cause a numbing feeling. In the Philippines, they would actually suck on the red seeds just to get rid of their toothaches. But here on property, we use them more for decoration. Beautiful palms. Up ahead, coming up to our left, past these two fences and towards the back, you'll see that tall overgrown grass. That tall overgrown grass is sugarcane. Ancient Hawaiians brought in sugarcane over 2,000 years ago. They would plant them by their huts. Chewing on the stalks gave them energy, and the fibers that they did not swallow became their toothbrush. Today we'll plant the stalks at 2 feet, and in 2 years they will mature, growing up to 30 feet high. Looking over to the right, you're going to see our pineapple plants. And to get your pineapple plant started, what you would do is simply take home your pineapple, twist off the crown, let the crown dry out for just 2 days, and then plant them right into the ground. So those are actually old pineapple crowns that have grown. It takes 14 months for your first pineapple to grow. It's going to grow directly in the center of your plant. It'll be your only normal size pineapple. 18 months later, you're going to have about 4 to 6 other pineapples, but they're not going to grow in the center like the first ones. They're going to grow from the sides of the plant, and they won't be any bigger than the size of your fist. We call them sugar babies. They're known to be much sweeter. Now the difference between your first normal sized pineapple and your sugar babies, the sugar babies are the ones that you'll find in the cans labeled as diced, and your first normal sized pineapple will be the ones you buy whole in the grocery stores. So it takes roughly between 2 to 3 years for all of your pineapples to produce. Over to the left hand side, past this little fence here, you're going to see our papaya trees. From the time you plant a papaya tree, it takes between 3 to 15 months for them till they bear their first fruits. Then 3 to 4 months later, they'll be ready to eat. Here on property, we grow strawberry papayas, and they just get that name from the reddish, pinkish meat on the inside. These papaya trees are hermaphrodite trees, meaning they have both male and female parts of the tree. It is the only tree that will produce fruit. It does everything on its own. If you were to plant just a male and a female papaya tree alone, they only produce flowers. So a lot of the farmers, they favor the hermaphrodite trees just because they're the only ones that'll produce fruit. Shortly up ahead, coming up to our right, we're going to be passing a tall brown tower. And that tall brown tower belongs to the Maui zip line. They have 5 towers on property with 5 lines ranging from 300 to 1,000 feet. The last line takes you over our tropical lagoon. They are a family-friendly zip line. They take kids as young as 5 years old, as long as they weigh 45 pounds. Their tallest tower is about 50 feet high, and that's on the left side here. It is a good starter zip line if you are afraid of heights, because we have a second zip line going up into the mountains. Now looking over to the right, you're going to see this plant called a tea leaf, and it's not to be confused with the tea that we drink. It's spelled T-I. The brown dry leaves that you see scattered all over the grounds, Hawaiians would use those leaves, and weaving them together, they'd make their slippers and their flip-flops for walking over those dry, sharp lava rocks. The red leaves, Hawaiians would squeeze them for their dye, and they would dye their kapa, which was their clothing. But only the ali'is could wear red. Ali'i marked a sign of royalty. Now the green tea leaves are more commonly seen. You'll notice them on the hula girls. Those are their hula skirts. So imagine flipping them upside down and shredding them. It's what gave them their grassy image. And it takes between 80 to 100 tea leaves to make a well-rounded hula skirt. Just like the hands that you would buy in the grocery stores, when one petal on that flower falls, that's when the new hand of bananas will start to grow. And they kind of look like little fingers when they grow. After we harvest the trees do die, so we cut them along their stumps, and the stumps, they hold a lot of moisture. They are self-propagating trees, meaning that new shoots will emerge from the roots of the original plant, reproducing itself. And if you know anyone who owns banana trees and they want to get rid of it, they're going to have to pull out every single root from the ground. If not, they'll just keep growing and growing and growing. Over to the right hand side, towards the beginning area, you're going to see some of our starter crops of coffee trees. And as we move down towards the ending towards me, you're going to see 3 rows of our mature crops of coffee trees. And the coffees, they are considered fruits because they produce coffee cherries. The coffee cherries are going to come in 4 stages. There's green, gold, red, and brown. So brown meaning they're no good, they're over dry. You'll want them when they're red. If you were to break open a red coffee cherry, inside of it there's going to be 2 little coffee beans. They're gonna be a khaki color, and they're not gonna have that coffee smell until it's roasted. And the more you roast your coffee beans, the less caffeine they'll have. Up ahead, coming up to our right, you're gonna see some hedges, and these are called bougainvilleas. They'll produce a paper thin-like flower. The bougainvilleas are native to Brazil. They make a real good security plant because they have little thorns on them. A lot of people like to plant them along their walls and their fences. And a weird fact about bougainvillea, they do strive for that dryness, so the less you water them, the more flowers they'll produce. Over to the left-hand side, you're gonna see 2 rows of our plumeria trees. And when winter passes, they tend to lose a lot of their leaves and their branches, which kind of makes them look like trees with sticks, just because they don't like that cold, rainy weather. Their season is between spring and summertime, so a lot of the trees did grow their leaves back and bloomed some of the flowers. When they bloom, they come in beautiful tropical colors. They're mostly fragrant at night, your right side of your ear. That means you are single and ready to mingle. If you wear your flower on your left side of your ear, that means you are taken, married, ball and chain. Now ladies, if you wear your flower on both sides of your ears, that means you are taken, but you're looking for an upgrade. So guys, you better compliment your ladies once in a while. Alright folks, but throughout the plantation, you're gonna notice some low-bearing crops. We lease out part of our property to our restaurant. It's called the Mill House. It is a farm-to-table restaurant, everything organic. We don't import any fruits or vegetables. They're all hand-picked here on property. The restaurant is open daily from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. They start serving dinner at 5 p.m. and it is the only place on property where you can consume alcohol. Now looking over to the left, you're gonna see this beautiful mountain here. This mountain is called Mauna Kahalewai. And in the middle of the mountain, there is a spot called Pu'ukakui. And Pu'ukakui is known to be the 9th wettest spot in the world because when it rains, it can hold up to 400 inches of rainfall. And we're lucky enough to get 8 inches down this side, so really big difference. And we do get most of our water resources in that spot as well. Shortly up ahead, coming around our little bend here, we're going to be entering our avocado trees. The trees that we're going to go under shortly is producing some avocados on them. So if you look up towards the trees, you'll see a lot of the small avocados growing. These trees just recently started to flower. Their season is between summer and fall. We also have more avocados up ahead on the left side on some of the front trees coming up shortly. Here on property, we grow 4 types of avocados. We grow Hass, Green Gold, Sherwill, and Hulumanu. And they are a superfruit. They help lower your cholesterol. And they contain 60% more potassium than a banana. Coming up ahead, next to our avocado trees, we're going to be making our way into our mango trees. Mango season is during summertime, but since we're so tropical here in Hawaii, we're going to produce mangoes twice a year. If you look closely at the trees coming up to the right, you'll notice that these trees did start to flower. So we do have little baby mangoes the size of golf balls right now. So mango season is just around the corner. The type of mangoes that we grow here on property are called Hayden mangoes. They're known to be more meaty and less stringy. When the mangoes mature, they're going to grow up to the size of a softball, and they're going to weigh anywhere from 5 to 8 pounds. And we like to trim our trees back every once in a while because the trees, they can grow up to 70 feet tall and 30 feet wide. Shortly up ahead, coming up to our right in just a little bit, we're going to be passing 4 little trees and a sign called a rambutan. Now the rambutan is native to the Philippines. Their season is during fall, but the most common form of a rambutan is a lychee or a lychee, however you pronounce it. And the rambutans, they consist of 66% of our daily values of vitamin C. Now coming up for all you macadamia nut lovers, we're going to be entering our macadamia nut trees on either side of us. And if you look closely into the trees, you'll see a lot of the green and brown macadamia nuts producing. If not, you'll see them all over the grounds. Now before they turn into macadamia nuts, they start off as little fuzzy flowers and they look like little caterpillars. Each flower consists of 200 little petals, and when they mature, out of those 200 petals, only 8 to 20 of them will survive, and they'll become the actual macadamia nut. They work just like coconuts, so when they're ready, they're just gonna fall right to the ground. Our macadamia nut trees were brought over from Australia just for shade for our field workers. We have about 200 macadamia nut trees here on property, but sadly we do not harvest any of them. They are all harvested on the big island of Hawaii because they have the proper machinery. They have one machine that will shake the trees and one machine that will crack them open. It does take 300 pounds of pressure just to crack open a 1/4 inch thick macadamia nut shell, and that is without damaging the kernel on the inside. That's one of the main reasons why macadamia nuts are so expensive. They're really hard to get open, but Hawaii did make macadamia nuts famous by covering them with everyone's favorite, which was chocolate and toffee. Now looking on either side of us here, you're gonna see these palm trees, and these are called Chinese fan palms, and they work like the Manila palms we've seen in the beginning of the tour. They'll produce these little seeds on them, but they're not edible as well. They're just used mostly for decoration here on property. Up ahead, coming up to the right, we're gonna pass a little grassy area. That is more of the 5 acres you are free to roam around. It makes a half circle around our duck and our fish lagoon. We also have our wedding gazebo back there. It's a beautiful place to take pictures. That is where we sell our famous Maui-Day Rosalani ice cream. We've got a bunch of different ice cream flavors there. Other than ice cream, they also sell fruit smoothies and ice pops. So if you do have a sweet tooth right after the tour, check out our little scoop. And next to our scoop, coming up to the right shortly, we're going to be passing our tropical market, where we try to sell our local made in Hawaii products. We're really strong in supporting the local vendors. In the market, we sell snacks, clothings, and souvenirs. We also have Rebecca Lowe's art gallery. She sells beautiful, affordable art prints. She takes pictures of flowers, beaches, and sceneries. She also does paintings as well. We also have a self-guided walking tour if you folks are interested. If you have a smartphone, in the App Store, download guidebook, then type in Maui Tropical Plantation, and all over the grounds you're going to see these little white billboards with letters and numbers. If you type in the letter and the number that's on the billboard into the app, it'll tell you what kind of plant you're looking at. Now throughout the 5 acres on the plantation, you'll notice other vendors here on property. We have Uncle Mike's sea glass stand. He sells beautiful sea glass